I gotta listen to that all night. That's just one little clip. This is I got goosebumps tonight. I'm having my boy up here, someone that I used to be in that audience watching him. That show was like 25 plus years ago, 1998. That show was right there that we just watched. That is a live performance from Tree. The original lineup with Dave Tree from the Palladium. I saw Dave Tree back in the day, the River Rave, I believe it was. It was at Great Woods. And then I saw him at the Hemp Fest. And it was a magical day the day I saw him because it was the beginning of so much in my life. I don't want to tell the whole story, but he was performing that day. And later on, Dave Tree and I were destined to meet. I knew all about him, and I actually wanted to work with him on a lot of the activism and advocacy I was doing with cannabis, and he had been a huge supporter of the Boston Hemp Fest and Freedom Rally, but things hadn't worked out for him over the last couple of years, so I was the new guy. And when we came together, it was just amazing because everything we talked about that night came true. We did stuff, and he's been someone that has rubbed off on me in a good way. You know, how do you make a living out of this? How do you actually follow your dreams over always the money? But the money has to be important because you have to sustain yourself. And how do you stick to your principles, but be a good guy, be nice to people, value friendships? Dave Tree is a creative force, and we did a lot of things together. And this week, he was Free Karen Reed. And to get the phone call I got from him today, it was just like, we need to do a show. We've been talking about wanting to do a show for a while. Dave, his band is back this week. This Saturday, 6 p.m., all ages show in Brighton, Massachusetts, Brighton Music Hall. They're headlining with Scissorfight. This is like 1998 all over again. New lineup, amazing new music, new videos. We're going to have Dave Tree on the phone in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about why he supports Karen Reed and about this song that I love called Question Abuse. And it's about police abuse, song that they wrote decades ago. And tonight, we are going to have Attorney Bederow on the show. The way this is going to work out tonight, 7 p.m., this is the first hour we're going to have with Dave Tree. Dave Tree telling some stories. Going to have fun. Dave Tree is a talker. A lot of people love Dave Tree, and they will stick around. But some people, you know, if he's not your cup of tea tonight, just wait till 8 p.m. because Bederow and Mazza are going to be here. And we're going to have a fun, good show tonight. And like I said, Dave Tree is someone that I value as a friend, as an ally, as someone I've done so many things with in the past, and also just as a fan. I love his music. I love his art. I love his optimism, his pragmatism, how pragmatic he is, how he gets shit done. He's a working musician artist for decades. Hasn't sold out, he's no boss. And he's stuck to certain values, which I really respect: friendship, loyalty, doing the right thing. I can't tell you how many shows I've seen where Dave is organizing a art show or a concert with huge bands, local bands, and raising money for someone who passed away or other charities. He was always, when I was doing the advocacy and doing these Hemp Fest shows and the nonprofit fundraising, Dave was always the biggest act I could get for free. Think about that. A lot of the other artists that were bigger, let's say, that would pretty much play for free, they still wanted some type of fee, even when they're playing for free, to cover the cost. Dave would make it work. Dave is that type of person. So I'm excited. I'm gonna get him on the phone right now. We're gonna talk to Dave Tree and why he was out for Free Karen Reed this week, and why other artists that we're seeing, because we also saw Trying to remember his name right now. I'm losing my train of thoughts. We saw the lead singer for Gangrene, Chris Doherty, was also out. I saw some other people I know from music, the local music scene, who were out supporting Karen Reed this week on my 2 visits. I want to talk about Karen Reed. I want to talk about the crowd. I want to talk about the lack of a verdict. We're going to talk about it all tonight on the show. Yes. All right. So we got 1,300 on YouTube right now. We just had our first 2 super chats. I think I have the slow chat on tonight. I think it worked. Hopefully it didn't work the other night. Working, but here, free Karen Reed, Miss Shorty from Australia. Thank you so much. First super chat tonight, I believe. And then we also had Kat K, who became a YouTube member of ours tonight. Thank you so much, Kat K. I also want to thank everyone for our last night's show. I think it was our biggest viewed live show ever. I think we're at like 80, 90, 100,000 views. It's not even been 24 hours. It's just amazing. I also want to thank you all for getting us to 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's just been an amazing ride. So tonight's a little bit of a celebration. It feels strange to say that because there's so much stress right now on the Karen Reed and her family, and for all of our supporters not to know how this is going to turn out. But the reason I want to be celebrating and optimistic tonight, because I want to remind everyone, you can't worry about what you don't know. And that's what we have to keep in mind. So many times in my life, I've worried about outcomes that didn't happen. Even with this harassment that happened to a lot of us, I felt myself going back there. Don't worry about what you don't know on the outcome, because usually what you fear the most never happens. Whatever you have in your head on how this is going to end is usually not the way it ends. And so far, what we know is that the jury is still working on this. We haven't heard that the jury's deadlocked. We haven't heard. So I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. And this movement gives me optimism. The outpouring, I was there for 2 days. You guys energized me. And I think that's what we have to continue to do for Karen Reed and her family. And that's why I'm live again tonight. When I said I thought I'd be done. I thought I'd be on a little mini vacation. But we're not going to stop for Karen Reed. We're seeing musicians come out. It's funny that Karen Reed, when I actually talked to her the other day for just a minute, we talked about music and concerts. And so later on that day, when I was out in the crowd and I'm seeing some of the people from the music scene, I said, you know what? After the JFK show, it's time to bring on Dave Tree tonight. Because when you're winning over the musicians and the artists, these guys have marketed their brand. They're not putting this lightly out there. And these are some of the leaders. We got Dave Tree. This is a guy that people know where he stands. They know who he is. He's a great guy. He's a hustler. He's a hard worker. And he's helped tons of local people, whether it's through charity or bands or your business. And especially the bands. And especially even me. Like, you know, the Young Jerks t-shirt you saw me in this week? And the t-shirts I've been giving away that I had in hand, not the ones that you get off the website that they print on demand, the ones that actually he has been printing. And I'm going to get a new order of those. Those are from Dave Tree. He's printed tons of bands, their t-shirts, small orders, gives them deals, hooks them up. And it's his art a lot of times. And that's the kind of guy he is. He tries to help people. And especially like the smaller artists that can't afford like a full order, he'll work with you. And he does, I mean, he gives too good of a deal, I think. Because he's doing it for love. That's Dave Tree. Everything he's doing is for love, and it's paid off. I mean, you saw that video right there. We're going to play it again for people who might be getting late. You are such a humble guy. You deserve it. Congratulations. Keeping up the hope. Free Karen Reed. This is going to be a great show. Thank you so much, Bianca. MMMM. She's got the 3 M's. Bianca 3M. She's got a channel. Make sure you follow her. She's great. Just put some new videos, some new Karen Reed material. Check Bianca out. Subscribe if you haven't. Persephone's Pomegranate just sent $6.99. Said just became a viewer shortly before the trial began. Great guest, and your heart and motivation shines through your content. We're doing it for love. I mean, that's the idea of this. If I didn't do it, I'd be miserable. That's why I kept doing a show. And now you guys have just made it amazing. Really. And I just can't thank you enough. And the Karen Reed case is just at the beginning here. But we're gonna see this through. We gotta keep our heads up. That's my number one tip for everyone. Let's wait to see what Friday brings. So you know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna call my friend. Let's see if he answers the phone. Oh,
yeah. Hello?
Hey, Dave Tree.
I'm on the air.
Yeah, you're on the air.
Am I on the air?
1,600
right.
people watching on YouTube.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? It's great to be here. Thanks, Mike. Congratulations on the success of the show.
You too. Congratulations on your life.
Oh, well, you know what? I just want to go, so I'm just going to keep pushing forward and looking for the good thing and never letting bad things or evil things dictate what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got back together. It was tough. I wanted the original guys back. Couldn't do it. Decided it's better to have the band playing with not the original guys and not all. And so far, everyone has agreed with me. They have come to the shows. They've been happy to be there. So
and you've got a huge show coming up, don't you?
Yeah, it's sick. I'm printing T-shirts right now. I'm just taking a break. I was a little late on getting the job done because I went down to the Karen Reed trial yesterday. But yeah, I got a big thing coming up. But at the same time, it's like you get to make time for these moments to go down and see what was happening and show her and her supporters support for what they've been doing down there. And hopefully she's going to get a verdict of not guilty because, doesn't look like there's evidence there to me or any. But what would you like to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about your show. You got a show Saturday, June 29th, this Saturday night, 6 p.m. It's all ages, night. Brighton Music Hall. Tell us about it.
Yep, at the Brighton Music Hall. They were nice enough to let me book the whole event, and I pulled all those bands together. I have Scissorfight, which are old-time buddies of ours. We used to play with them back in the 90s, and they're an amazing band with a sound, and we've been playing shows with them around New England for the last couple months, so we were just psyched that they could do it, because originally when I asked them if they could do it, they couldn't do it. I'm like, oh no. But then when I asked them a couple months later, suddenly they were like, yeah, actually we could. So it worked out. And then there's this band, The Long Wait, that's playing with us too. They're like a new band of older Boston hardcore band legends from like Slapshot, SSD Control, Daryl Shepard. Daryl Shepard, like what band hasn't he been in? You know what I mean? I don't know. So Daryl's like fantastic. I'm psyched to share the stage with him. And then Neighborhood Shit's playing. It's South Boston band. I've known these guys since they were kids. This is the first time we get to play with them as Tree. I got to play with them a couple times with my other band, Sour, and See This World. But this will be a first to do it with Tree, and totally psyched. Like these guys are great. They're adults now, and I've known them since they were like teenagers. And then the opening act is my Chris Crowbar's band from down Cape Cod, Poor Impulse Control. They're a skinhead boy hardcore band, and they just put out a new album, Where Angels Fear to Tread, and you should check it out. And it's good. And they're going on first at 6:55. So get there early. It's an early show because we want it to be all ages, because I don't want to discriminate against people's age group. You know what I mean? So you can bring the kids or you can bring your parents. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Hey, Mom, you want to go to the show? It's like, really? Is it all ages? Yeah, Mom, you can go.
So that's at starts at 6 p.m.
Starts at 6. So like that's what I'm saying. Like 6, doors are at 6. First band 6:55. Get off at stage at like 11:05 or something. So it's an early night. Probably have like an after hour thing like we always did back in the day over at the Ford Gallery in Watertown. So we'll I'll post or let people know about that. But totally looking forward to it. It's been a long journey and it's a long, hard fight coming. And finally, it's like I'm on the doorstep of getting it done. And I'll be happy when I'm up on stage doing that microphone thing. But until then, I'm just working at it to make it the best show I can make it.
Yes, I'm gonna put your some of your links too in the chat for people to follow. If people,
here's my advice. All right, here's my advice. Never ever look forward to stuff. Sure, I should be or could be looking forward to this, but I'm not going to, because that gives me these preconceptions of what it's going to be like, instead of just going there and enjoying it and not being disappointed by having it not be exactly like, or even kind of like how I pictured it in my head. So I go there, I expect just to make it awesome, and I hope for the best, and I prepare myself for the worst. I never look forward to it, but I look forward to seeing you there. Bam. Cheers.
And for the people in the chat, there's some questions. One of the things I just want people to know is I just put your YouTube. You have a YouTube, Tree Music 617. That's your YouTube, right?
I finally got a YouTube channel. I'm definitely having, I'm troubled by technology, but we're finally going. So please check that out. We have a couple videos there. I'm trying to put up a bunch of older stuff and newer stuff as we progress,
I'm going to try.
So we have a YouTube
try to
thing.
pin that for people too. I'm going to put it up in the chat for people who are watching, and if I can get back on there, because I'm taking a phone call on the call too, so it's kind of weird.
Okay.
All right. Far off campsites.
I don't know if
so
I can do it.
People asking you to ask me any questions?
Yes, we got a question. You can tell the story too, because it's basically they want to know, is Tree your last name? And you can also tell them the story how I became Mike Can.
Oh yeah. No, Tree's not my last name. Unfortunately, I live in Massachusetts, so like nicknames are, like you just get them. You earn them in certain ways, and you just have to deal with them. If you like them or not, it's just the way it is. So originally, I got the name River from falling in the Charles River when I was a kid, all drunk and stupid. So the older kids thought it was hilarious, So all during Tree, I was River, and then when Tree broke up, I tried to go back to being the name my parents gave me, and it didn't work for a second. All of a sudden, I became Dave Tree, and it kind of bummed me out because, like, I wasn't doing Tree anymore, and I'm like, I don't like, it's like calling me like by my wife's last name or something. Because come on, Tree broke up with me. Don't call me Tree. And
so
I
was
was stupid enough to say that. So
it was a sore subject when people were calling you Dave Tree.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, knock it off. I don't like that. So of course everyone just doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on Dave Tree. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? People would die for this kind of branding. People would pay millions and millions of dollars to have this kind of branding, and I'm just going to have to go with it. So I just went with it and just started dealing with it, and then just started presenting myself and my work as, Dave Tree.
It's how people know you.
I feel bad for all the other real Dave Trees. Sorry?
That's how people know you. It's like it was a genius thing, because like anytime I say Dave Tree, people are like, oh yeah, I know Tree. I know Dave Tree. They know exactly what's going on when you say Dave Tree. And now you got your band back, but you also put it on a beer. You had Tree Beer too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, but it was figure out. I mean, let's like answer one more thing before we move on to the Tree Beer.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the alias and like the brand also works as an alias, which is great. You know what I mean? In a way, because it's like it gives me a little bit more freedom. to like, I don't know, get people upset or get people psyched. So that's when we were working together as activists trying to make marijuana legal again, when the cops were really like not wanting us to do that. I made you Mike Can.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I do.
We were working for.
I was doing all that shit.
And
I had a serious job at AIG at the time, and I was doing all this shit on the side and not telling my employer. Honestly, this is how crazy I was. But and I kept behind the scenes. Like, I was doing all the organizing in terms of like the events, but I wasn't speaking at them. And I'd even do blogging, and I would put the camera on people and never speak. I would have them speak. And then there was a freedom rally that happened, and it became a mystery on who I was. And like High Times got the picture and put my name in there. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get fired. And so what do? I call up Dave Tree, and he's like, you know, my name's not really, last name's not Tree. You're Mike Can, V Mike Can. And I was like, oh my God. The next day I created a blog, and no one ever used Mike Crawford again for like years. It was just Mike Can. It became a brand. But then
it's good. Who can? Mike can.
Yeah.
Mike can do it.
Yeah. You saved me. This is why I'm so happy to have Dave Tree here. There's been so many times
I'm so happy to be on,
where you've inspired me.
The craziest thing,
me.
I was at the Karen Reed. Oh, dude, you're inspiration too. And it's like, listen, we're just trying to like do good work here. And I'm doing work, like art and music and journalism. It's kind of all wrapped in one giant ugly taco. And I'm just trying to make people like feed on that, and check it out. It's delicious. And you're doing the kind of same thing. Like, you've moved on to this more podcasty format. Like, me, I had that whole podcast station at New Alliance that I started, No Alliance Radio. And it lasted for like it lasted till COVID. So that was like, what, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I didn't make a dime off it. Didn't care about making money. All I cared about was getting people's programs up and getting their word out and letting them do their thing, And
so tell us about Karen Reed. You went down to Karen Reed. Was it yesterday? The Dedham?
Yeah, I went there yesterday. Yeah.
And what did you think about the people?
I love the people. I was psyched. I was like, wow, I love to see people down there so involved with the system and the court system. And I love how this court case has got all these people involved in learning how it works and how it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And how corrupt it can be, and how like the police don't always tell the truth. I hate to tell you, I told you so, but yeah, they don't tell the truth for a long time now. And there's a commonality around the people, and I liked it. It was good energy. I got to talk to a bunch of them. Some of them have been there for weeks. Some of them have been there for months. Some of them have been there for the entire time, going out to the in support of her at these cases and like hearings, and it's like, wow. So yeah, I was actually completely blown away, and it actually I was happy to see it. You know what I mean? It's like the citizenship has to know when like things are going on like this, because like this could happen to them too. You know what I mean? And like, and if she gets like, if she use this the tension that this case has now, this been created also like the attention created by independent journalism, not like the mass media, because the mainstream media dropped the ball, and it's still painfully dropping the ball in this case. So yeah, so you wouldn't know what it's like down there unless I told you. It's awesome, really nice. It was really nice to see all these people come out and support. There's all these different people there. I mean, it's definitely more of a right-leaning crowd, and I was, I'm like, great, if this is what it takes for them to kind of come over to our side without even knowing it, by like, questioning the police and their brutality and their tactics and their corruption. We've been talking about, like, the left has been talking about this since the 60s. Somehow a case like this has brought the right wingers over. Hey guys, welcome. Where the hell you been? You know what I'm saying? Where you been? Where have you been?
What I like about you, Dave, is you
love and miss you.
Yeah, you have right-wing friends, don't you?
Absolutely.
You don't hate people based on their ideology. You'll stick to your principles of what you believe in, but you don't hate on people just because of what they believe, right?
No, I don't. But it also depends on how extreme their beliefs are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a limit to like.
You don't do hate.
Like,
you don't do. You're anti-racist. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anti-racist, anti-bigot, anti-discrimination. I think when we used to tour back in the old days around the country in the 90s, we'd have to deal with all sorts of like skinheads or like racist groups at our shows. And like, let me make it perfectly clear to everybody right now. Most skinheads, and the skinhead movement is not a racist movement. It's actually a movement of solidarity between blacks and whites, and it started in England, and that's the true story. And like, just because it got co-opted by the National Front and then the Nazis here in America, they don't represent real skinhead. Real skinhead culture is two-tone, it's brotherhood, sisterhood, it's great music, it's great style. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
But when we toured around this country, we had to deal with a lot of racists and stuff. So we have to do these deals where it's like, can you leave your politics at the door, or do we fight you right now in the street, right? So do we fight you now in the street, or can you leave the politics at the door and we give you a break and give you a chance to come in and show that you can go to the show, coexist with us at the show, celebrate the music at the show, and then leave the door and you can do your politics outside. And we used to do that all the time. And it used to stop the fucking, the riot from happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We did this in Colorado a couple times.
That's what I like about cannabis. It brought people together. It was left and right working together.
Well, not in Salt Lake City. Those straight edge kids, man, those gangs, they hate on you for that.
Yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it.
That wouldn't bring them together.
Yeah.
And they attack you.
They want the
jump
division.
Yeah. They're just wound up, and they're angry about some of the right things, but most of the wrong things. They shouldn't be, it's like getting wasted on drugs and alcohol. If you don't want to do that, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you what to do, please. I don't want to be like an inspiration for people to get drunk and be drunks and be alcoholics and then lose. I want them to, like, if you want to have beer and drink with us, celebrate this awesome moment, yes. Let's win together. I don't want you to lose alone.
That's what I love about you. Let's win together. That's a common Dave tree. Let's win together. That's what you always think on everything that we've ever worked on. Is like, how can the most people win on this? That's what I like about Dave Tree.
Absolutely. How do the most people benefit off this? So people ask me, are you a capitalist? I'm like, no, that's like the exact opposite of capitalism, right? It's like, it's about sharing the wealth and the prosperity, I want my community, when I think about quality of life, I don't think about just my quality of life. I think about my community's quality of life.
And you've had an impact on it. I know so many artists, people like me, that you have helped and kept going. So I'm just really thankful for Dave Tree and my relationship with you. I want to ask about this song. We played it, a piece of it, Question Abuse. It's like one of your most popular songs. You've got a lot of songs that are popular, actually. But this is like one of the biggest ones, I think. And tell us about how that song came to be and what's it about.
All right. Well, this song is about police brutality and the programming of people to accept it. And by the use of that television show and other television shows, but especially that show Cops. That show used to drive me nuts, absolutely nuts, because it's like they only show when those people like are wrong. Like, how many times I want to see when the cops are wrong? I want to see when the cops are like, "Whoop, yeah, I gotta let you go. Totally our fault. Bad boys, bad cops. What you gonna do?" Anyways, I looked at that TV show as a part of like the brainwashing of the American public to accept the police brutality and laugh at it and laugh at the victims of it. So I literally wrote all the lyrics of the whole song in one sitting on the tabletop at museum school when I was going to school there. And then as soon as I was done, a teacher who's at the art school, it's an art school, came over and scolded me for defacing the property of the school, and now the janitors have to clean it. And I'm like, well, that's funny because I am a janitor at the school too. So I'm a student here and a janitor here. And like, so I just had this creative outburst and you want me to erase it? And I'm like, ha. It was funny. So then I just wrote it down in my notebook, and then took the orange line to the Charlestown station, got out the station, went to the practice space. It used to smell like donuts because there's a donut place next door. And when I got there, Uzi One Kenobi was working on this riff, and it was the riff for Question of Use. And the lyrics and the riff just literally just lined up perfectly, and we wrote the song in like two tries.
I love it. It's such a good song. It's so easy to sing back. It means something, and it's got that riff. That riff is so outstanding. It's like, and when you're live, man, you can feel it. You like that one I showed you were just like so geared up, dude. Just killing it.
The riff has like this duality of like this punk energy to it, but then it's got this like a groove to it. Yeah. It's just Brian Porter Hinckley was amazing.
He's put out some new music. He's great.
Good guy. He did. He put out something called 55 Shots, and so he's also playing with GP from Clutch.
Oh, Clutch. That's right.
Yeah, the drummer from Clutch is on the album, which is great. Brian actually toured with Clutch after Tree broke up in early 2000s a little bit because they saw his amazing abilities and his touch. He just has this special touch. So yeah, so we were lucky. I mean, like you writing songs can take weeks. You know what I mean? And we literally did it in like half an hour. I mean, we tweaked it a little bit here and there, but like the meat and potatoes, front to back.
Now you were around a time.
We wrote that in 1990. So that's like 1990 about police brutality and the use of mass media to have majority of the population learn to accept it, celebrate it. So.
I mean, you were around a time too when there were actual like huge record labels that were actually signing alternative type bands. Did you get courted at that time? Because I mean, you look at the crowds you had back then. It seemed like to me on the outside, I didn't even know you back then, but I discovered you. I thought like a lot of those bands were like on the same level as some of them actually got big, not even the hardcore bands, but like Boston bands. But like on the level like the Pearl Jams, like you could actually be like the next band. It seemed like anyone could be at that time if you're real and authentic, which you guys were. Did you get that feeling? Like, did you get any shots, or did they just say you're too crazy? That's what I imagine. I imagine them looking at you guys and being like, they got this song, it could work, but they're gonna be pains in our asses. That's what I look at it. But I'm just wondering did you get courted back then?
They were totally 100% confused by Tree and our success and why people like us at all. They're like, we don't we wouldn't know who to put you on tour with. I'm like anybody, just put us in front of people and we'll do our thing and we'll win half the crowd over, or we'll win some people over, and then we'll go drink with them in the parking lot. And
exactly, that's what I love about you too. You're a man of the people.
We'll hang out. We're going to hang out with, but the whole band would hang out with them and everybody and chill. Like we go on tour and barbecue in the parking lot. So like when like people came to show up to the show, like we'd be out there like with instead of eating pizza, I'd go take the money and just go to the grocery store buy just, $20 worth of food and feed like all the bands and anybody that wanted a hot dog or taco. I used to make tacos.
Yeah, food is food is always a thing with us. Like anytime we did an event, it was like we gotta feed people, right?
No, it's just like you have to eat. So we have no place to eat. So we'd be barbecuing in the parking lot.
Yeah, I love it.
At the club, and people would show up and think it was the funniest fucking thing. And then we'd be like, "Oh, you hungry?" They're like, "Yeah." It's like, well, we have some mashed potatoes and some coleslaw.
Amazing. And tell us,
dude. Like,
you guys went on some tours, and I know at one point you guys got pulled over and some shit happened. Didn't where you were on tour?
Oh, numerous times. Like especially down south of the northern plates, you get pulled over and fucked with a lot. But when they pulled us over, we all had short hair, baseball hats. We were really polite. We don't have any tattoos really or anything like that. So they go like, "What are you guys, a baseball team?" We're like, "Oh no, we just used to tell people we're in a rock band." And then if they ask us what kind of music we play, we play rock. You know, and that's it. And
You try to fly under the radar, basically.
Oh yeah, but like it's also we show up at like I remember one time we played this place in Brooklyn, and it was like it was blown out when Williamsburg's waterfront was abandoned. We played in those buildings, and all the bands there were like really punk, like crazy, like looking punk kids. Like everyone was wearing black leather and boots, and we show up, we got our baseball hats and sneakers on. They're like, you guys play sports? We're like, yeah. You guys want to play wiffle ball? And they're like, yeah. We had a big wiffle ball game, met all these people, had a big, made all these friends,
Yeah, that's great.
Because they start off looking at us like, what's up with these guys? And then like sometimes we win them over and sometimes we don't. And some people just never like us,
Yes.
And it's like, you guys are never going to play here. It's like, never, like ever. It's like, well, okay. Well, does that mean like we can't get along? And the guy's like, huh? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, like I can still come here and see shows, right?
Do you think sometimes about the clubs it was like because I saw this at the late '90s, early 2000s. They started banning shows because they were worried about mosh pit liability, and you guys had those mosh pits. Do you think that kind of happened? Like hurt your band at all?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah. So record labels also, we had one record label go like, you guys look like a bunch of drunk fishermen. And we're like, yes, that's like the best look.
Yeah, you want to be
right?
drunk fishermen. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, they were like, they said it to us as an insult, and we took it as this compliment. Like, yeah, you get it. And they're like, what? No, we don't get it. They're like, yeah, we're like the regular guy. We're fucking right off the job, out on the fucking stage, literally, because that's our lives half the time. Like sometimes I'm covered in paint and I'm on the mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you want? I didn't have time to go home and change. The show must go on. And like, you guys aren't paying me enough, so I have to go paint your house just to get the money you owe me, Shit.
That's what I love about you, Dave. You'll work to get money no matter what. You'll do what you got to do. You're a hustler. You're a survivor. This is someone's commenting.
And I'm an artist. I'm an artist person. So I'm always like, I can make new stuff up. I don't have to wait around for someone to come up with something. I can just come up with it if I want to,
And I'm posting.
I mean, I'm not a genius or anything, but like, it's like, I know my limitations, but I also know what I like to hear and what I want to see, All
right. I got to make a couple programming notes, Dave. Number one, people are commenting on you being at Hempfest in the past, Tree at Hempfest. I got a picture right now of Chris Doherty from Gang Green with some of the Karen Reed supporters at Dedham yesterday. What do you think? I mean, Gang Green's also another legendary band. What do you think about Chris Doherty and the fact that he's in his wheelchair, this legendary hardcore guy, and he's also supporting Karen Reed?
Well, you know what? I think anyone with any common sense in their head, once they learn about the case, supports her. You know what I mean? And the fact that Chris Doherty is down there supporting her, I'm not surprised at all because Chris Doherty is a very intelligent man. I've always loved his music and his wisdom, and he's been a good friend to me since like the early '90s, maybe late '80s. And of course he's down there. That's why I think he's down there because punk rock hardcore, especially the original. That's what it's about, man. It's about like representing and taking care, like being there. When things go down, you're not at home. You're there. And we also had to support each other through a bunch of crazy stuff because we went through a lot of discrimination and still do through our music scene and how some of us dress and act. That of course he's down there supporting her. I wish I got to see him down there. I love Chris. We're like, I want to support him, supporting her, and support her too.
It's pretty amazing to see that. Gang Green is another legendary. It's great to see the artist. I want to see more politicians come out now. That's the next thing we need to focus on. But what you're winning in my opinion, on a cause when you start to get the culture leaders, the leaders who are like Chris Doherty, like Dave Tree. I have on the phone here. This is Dave Tree from the band Tree. We're really excited.
Yeah, I'm like, see, I'm not compromised by corporate interests. I'm not compromised, I'm not worried about not getting the job. They're never going to give me the job, okay? They were never going to give me the job in the first place. The Westwood Police made sure of that when I was a kid, that I'd never get a regular job. Ever, right? But that made me wake up at a very early age. To like, it's like once you're awake and realize what's going on and see how things work, you can't go back to being asleep,
Yeah.
And that's what this case has done for lots of people. Wake up. Now you're awake. Now you see what's going on. Now you know what woke means. This is what woke means. Now you're awake. Seriously.
Yeah,
this is
I'm
what
also
woke means, everybody. Hey, all you right-wingers, this is what woke means. You woke up. You got to see what's up. You recognize how things really work, and you got to protect yourself because you don't want to get victimized like Karen Reed, right? You just woke up. Good job. I'm proud of you.
So we were posting some of your art up too. Arm the Homeless is one of the ones I got up here. You do a lot of art. That's also a
song. Arm the Homeless is a song about homeless veterans on the city street back home, but they're MIA. They swallow their pride for something to eat at war with the USA. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's about how we don't honor our veterans that risk their lives in our foreign exploits. When they come home, they should have food, shelter, medical, no matter what. Period. Zero. No ifs, and, ors, or but. I mean, this is a very wealthy country. They go over there and they make those companies lots of money. Every single one of those people should have a house, a car, a decent job they can have, or they don't have to work at all because they've made those companies so much money. Those companies owe them more than we owe them. We owe them too, but the companies who profit off their sacrifice owe them forever. But hey, the problem is they'll never pay up, and there'll never be anyone like me. I'll never get in power. If I was in power, I'd make them pay, but they'll never pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I also posted one of your portraits of Mr. Butch. I know you knew him and you've done a lot of art around him as well, correct?
Mr. Butch was a homeless man that was born in Worcester, but when I met him, he was the king of Kenmore Square, and I was just a kid, and he was a larger-than-life figure, a musician, a poet, a street Buddha, I used to skate and hang out and drink on the streets a lot when we were kids because that's what you did in the 80s. And we got to be great friends with Mr. Butch in Kenmore Square. Skate, hang out, listen to him tell stories. He used to call me the little man. And then he saw me grow up and start Tree, and then all of a sudden he started calling me rock star. And I'm like, I'm not rock star, Mr. Butch. I'm the little man. He said, not anymore, little man. You've moved up. And I was like, that to me was like a crown, a trophy, a real trophy, a real not a trophy, but a real
accomplishment,
achievement accomplishment point in my life. Absolutely, having a homeless man. People hear me. Having this homeless man I looked up to for his wisdom and his generosity and his incredible creativity and his kindness. Give me a compliment like that. I was like, wow, I don't want to be a rock star, but for you, Mr. Butch, yes, sir. Thank you. Take that. Honor me.
Talking to Dave Tree. Dave Tree tonight from the band Tree. We got him.
Yeah, no. Any more questions? Let's go, man. I'm ready.
Let me
pick your berries in my backyard drinking beer. What do you got?
Let me make sure that these folks know, because a lot of them are used to their Attorney Bederow every night. And they're like, where's Attorney Bederow? He's going to be coming up. He's going to be on at 8 p.m. We got a few more minutes with Mr. Dave Tree right now. One of my good friends. I want to play it. Can you hear it? If I play this, I want to know if you can hear this right now, because I want to get pumped up again. This song always gets me going. I just play a small clip. It's a live version. Who recorded this video and put it together with the sound? Because it's amazing.
Which one was the what?
It's the one from the song that we were just talking about, Question Abuse, live
Question Abuse, yeah.
from the Palladium, I believe, in 1998.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm not sure who wrote that.
Yeah.
I mean, I filmed that. Yeah, you know, I could throw out Duncan Wilder Johnson's name, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
whoever
or
did
it
a
might
great
have
job. I'm using it today.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
they're all right with it. I'm gonna put their link to the. I only use a small little clip because I
It
don't
might have
want
been Catch a Brick Productions. Might have been Catch a Brick. But yeah, you know, listen, it's been an honor and pleasure to be able to talk to your crowd and your audience. And it's like, listen, like what's happening to Karen Reed is about what's right and wrong. You know what I mean? It's about justice. It is not just about her case. It's about how we all live in this world. We either treat each other with justice or we don't. You know what I mean? And we can't be selective with who we treat right and who we don't treat right. We treat everybody right until there's a reason for them to be treated in a different way. You know what I mean? Let them fall. If they fall down, we can pick them up. If they keep falling down and hurting people, you know, like, I don't know. Then you can be wary of them. But like, you got to show respect. You got to just, you know, show justice. Daily street justice. Get on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we get justice. You grew up in Westwood too, right? So you're familiar with like the
Absolutely.
South Shore, especially Canton, the Canton culture, right?
Dude, I know Canton.
Norfolk County.
I know what goes on in Canton.
You have any stories?
I'm not telling those stories, but yeah, I got stories.
I bet.
Definitely. Yeah, you know, so Canton's not innocent of anything by any stretch of the imagination. This isn't like all of a sudden like a beginning, you know, like they've always had like an element, a criminal element in that town. Just like Westwood had a criminal element too. We did. It's like they just move out of the city and they hide their money out there and they buy these houses and they just pretend they're normal people. And you know, it happens. You know, people are people, and that's what it's going to be. But so things get intertwined, and the cops are not, and you know, they're not innocent. You know, they're human beings too, right? They're fallible to like wanting big screen TVs. Me, I don't want a big screen TV. Thank God, right? You can't I feel like I'm like, you couldn't bribe me that well. But other people get bribed really well with like money and material goods, or like we'll give you a promotion. Promotion? I never had a promotion in my life. I don't know what the fuck that would mean, you know? Promotion from what? Being already awesome? Like even more awesome? Nah, I don't want to be more awesome. But yeah, I can't. I have certain theories I could throw out there, but you know what? It's not really worth it. It's like I'd rather like keep to the facts. The facts of the case is like there's a lot of like no evidence there, right? And the evidence they have is suspect, you know, and the timelines don't line up, right? And then there's all this evidence of like just where the body was. How come there's no car? Like the body was that far away? I mean, thanks to you, I got into this case. You know what I mean? And realized what an absolute shit show it is. And the cops can't get away with this stuff because she's got to be found innocent. And then the next step is, what about these guys? They can't just walk away from this stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike? Is there finally going to be consequences?
I'm hoping the feds do
lying
something
on the stand.
I mean, that's
you know,
it's got to be the feds. The feds is the only, and once Morrissey's out of office, and maybe if we get the attorney general and the governor to actually finally do something. And what are they doing? They're doing nothing. Nothing.
Like the mainstream media, the slant is that she did it, you know, and that she's going to be found guilty. Like that's their slant, and that's what's crazy. Here's the thing about the media that I hate: they show up with the story already written in their head, but the story's happening right then. They only have this angle. Like when I was at the Karen Reed trial yesterday, I went up to every like press person I could. I'm like, let's talk. I'll give you an interview. And all they wanted to know about is like what YouTube podcast I learned about the case from. And I'm like, what? I learned about it from like the radio, the newspaper. And also I learned about it from Mike Crawford, who is a podcaster, but I didn't listen to his podcast. I got it like directly from his source and got to have a conversation with him directly about that. And I thought like, wow, she's gonna want to talk to me. But no, she didn't want to talk to me because the story in her head, in all their heads, is like they want to like push this whole podcast, made all these people all agitated by, I'm going to say quote unquote, misinforming them about the case. You know what I mean? Or informing them, not to the fully about the case, like responsibly, like the mainstream does. I can only imagine what the angle is, because when they do these stories with you, I've been interviewed a lot, right? Yeah. So when they interview me, they already cut an angle.
Yeah.
And I don't know it.
I wondered about that one too. It's funny because I wondered about that one too, but I don't know. I'll give I think it was the Globe, actually. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt till I read the story. But I definitely feel you. There's often, they're trying to get permission.
I mentioned your name.
Yeah. She's getting permission from her boss and all that stuff.
It's hilarious because the thing is, radio listeners, this probably the same reporter that I was talking to reached out to Mike later, or talked to Mike later on, but like the story was already printed.
Yeah.
But like they were just like, once again, they already wrote that story. They literally had that story probably written before they even went there.
That's
and all they want to do is go.
Unfortunately,
they want to like go and interview a couple people and then plug it into what their story is, not what the story is. They're not reporting what the story is. They're reporting the story they already have.
I think the story, too, for them are related to the YouTubers and podcasters is that we beat the Globe. And it's just like the cannabis story.
That's not the story.
Remember I broke the Lorna story, too? The cannabis worker? Again, we beat the Globe. Like, at least on that one, they came around and they totally gave us credit and sided with us. But, like, that happens a lot. I think that's a part of their issue with Turtle Boy is that he's beaten that mainstream media so many times with stories, and I think they don't like that competition, kind of. But it's easy.
No, they absolutely can't. They can't handle it.
Yeah. But I want to thank you so much, Dave. Where can people find more of you? Because I got to get Attorney Bederow on here.
Oh, I don't know. Tree Music 617. I'm on. We're on Spotify. There's all these other bands called Tree. I got to shut them down, but I don't really want to. But I'm gonna have to. But I don't want to. But we're out there, and I'm also Dave Tree. Just I'm whatever. You can find me if you want to find me. You can find me. Okay. I run Sweet Tree Inc. I run Sweet Tree Inc. If you need some T-shirts printed, and I want I'll help you out and work stuff with you if you want. And we're playing on Saturday with Scissorfight, The Long Wait, Neighborhood Shit, and Poor Impulse Control. And we'd love to have you there. It's an all ages event. Bring the kids, bring your grandparents, let's celebrate rock and roll and just being alive, right? So let's celebrate life while we got it, everybody. And I support Karen Reed 100%, and I think she's going to be found innocent, and I think she's going to I think she's going to have a way better life after this is all over. And that's what I hope for her, So let's hope for the best and prepare for whatever happens. And thank you, Mike, so much.
Thank you. We just had a comment from Cheryl who said she had a blast with Tree on Saturday night in Bangor. You played in Bangor, Maine, did you?
Absolutely. We got up to Bangor, Maine. I'd like to shout out to Joel and Tiffany at the Queen City Cinema Club that put on the show. Like, say what's up to Jamie, Ballistic Booking, for putting us on. We played with Siege. It was awesome. This band Thighs and this band Peacebreaker. And it was great. We had it was full of like half the crowd was probably seeing us for the first time, And it was a nice full crowd.
I got one.
And I heard Stephen King was going to come, but he had like some other show. He had like a drag show to go to at the VFW Hall, so he did that instead.
All right, I thank you so much. I got one quick last question for you. Any lyrics that you could even say tonight that relate to Karen Reed that you might put into a song or anything like that? Is that
Oh
coming?
yeah, I wrote a song. It's like, I want to be free, just like Karen Reed. I want to be free, 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 Karen Reed. I want to be free, 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 just like Karen Reed, just like you and me. Let's all be free, like Karen Reed. Peace.
Thank you so much, Dave. I'm going to close out with some Tree question abuse, and then I'm going to bring up Attorney Bederow and Mazza Media. I want to thank everyone who's been listening. Thank you so much, Dave Tree. Good luck on Saturday night with the big all ages show at Brighton Music Hall with Scissorfight, one of the biggest acts around for decades. So you got 2 for 1, Tree and Scissorfight. I mean, come on.
They're definitely a co-headliner. 100%.
And if you go out there, say hi to Dave Tree. If you want a selfie, autograph, just tell him you heard him on the Young Jerks. Thank you so much, Dave Tree.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Young Jerks. Talk to you guys soon. Love you guys. Peace.
Love you too, Dave. Thank you. All right, we're the Young Jerks, and I'm going to bring up Bederow and Mazza Media in a second. That was Dave Tree. Definitely check him out. Sweet Tree Inc. too. He also prints the T-shirts, the Young Jerks T-shirts you see on me. He prints those. He's an artist. He'll make your logo. This guy, you saw some of the artwork that I showed up tonight. He is so multi-talented. He's been doing this for decades, music and art and supporting other small entrepreneurs. He supported me and what I do for decades. So I'm really happy to have him tonight, and that he came to his own conclusion on Karen Reed. He decided that Karen Reed is worth supporting, and it's really great to see. I'm going to play his little clip from one of the greatest hardcore Boston bands of the 90s here. This is Tree back in the heyday. All right, that was amazing. I love some Tree. Had to play that twice tonight. Oh man, I'm getting pumped up. I wish I could go Saturday. Go down and check them out Saturday night. It will be a fun time. And Dave is just like you hear him. He's just a great guy. He will hang out with you, and you can talk about whatever you want with him. He's a good guy. And maybe you got to do friendship, because he's that type of guy. I just love Dave Tree. Check him out Saturday night, Brighton Music Hall, headlining with Scissorfight. Let's bring up the headliners. We got Attorney Mark Bederow. Welcome back.
Hi,
Attorney Bederow.
how are you?
Good. How you doing tonight?
All right, I'm a little punchy today.
You are.
A little punchy.
Court.
Yeah. Long
Court.
day, but I'm all right.
You got to tell us what happened in court today.
Well, we had summations, went really well, but at the end of the DA's summation, he tried to imply that the client was complicit in another horrific crime, to wit, a murder that her husband allegedly committed, which is mistrial territory, except this is a bench trial, so there isn't going to be a mistrial, but it was an outrageous allegation, unwarranted, and it pissed us off, as you can imagine. This woman has been through so much and has heard so much, and these dirtbags have just continuously put her through the ringer while she's on trial for her life. And she's just a good person. She's actually innocent. She's a victim of her husband's sins, and they confirm that. That's been our argument. And then when they argue that she's somehow complicit in a murder, It was just, I've never seen that in a courtroom in all my life. These people in the Queen's DA's office, it's unbelievable. So, judge didn't like it. We didn't like it. So, it worked out well for us, but nevertheless, for her to have to experience that and be broken down again the day after being broken down, having to listen to a 911 call in which she had to report the potential suicide of her husband, which in fact happened, for nothing, is just, these people are just awful. So we're pissed off, but it's going well legally, but to see her suffer emotionally like this for nothing is really annoying.
Were any press there? Any press noticing, picking up on this? What's going
Yeah,
on?
there was press there. Nothing's up yet. They'll do their thing probably tomorrow. But yeah, there were people there, which is good because they should see it. They should expose it. And when this is over, assuming it goes well, which we certainly hope it will, I assume a certain person's going to have a lot to say, and so will I. But we're not there yet, so we have to wait for the outcome, hope that it's the right outcome, and then we can unleash the hounds.
Is there anything people can do to help out or help her out right now? Like, is there any fund or can they show
No,
up?
it's in the same situation as Karen Reed. It's waiting verdict. It's so we're in that, in that uncomfortable territory, as we talked about. It's a bench trial, so it's different. So we know a date certain we're getting a verdict, unlike, what's going on with Karen. But July 3rd, we'll get a verdict. And if it goes well, which we expect it will, we'll have a lot to say then. But until then, nothing's done until it's done.
And so the court part of it is done. It's just up to the judge at this point.
Yep. After 7 miserable weeks, the trial is over. It's just a matter of a verdict, right?
That's
Yep.
tough. That's gotta be tough. Wait until July 3rd now.
I mean, for her particularly, she's just
Right.
been, abused for decades and then has to sit in
Now,
the
the
courtroom,
yeah,
then
it's
gets
awful.
abused by the DA. It's shameful, but it's what it is. Happens more than you think. It's not just the case that you're all following. It happens every day.
It always seems too like the person that has the least to do with it is the one that gets harmed the most in these types of situations because they have the least to offer law enforcement if they
It's
rat. So they just throw the book at people for no reason.
because our whole theme about this particular case was that, they're trying to punish her for the sins of her husband, which are great. The sins of her husband are great, but her crime is falling in love with a bad guy. It happens.
Who abused her?
Right. And so that was our theme in the opening, the theme in the closing. And then by the end of their summation, when they tried to argue that she somehow was helping him in his terrible crime, it just proved our point, really. They're blaming her for his sins. I mean, it was kind of ironic in
Comical.
a way. It was almost comical, but not, because you can imagine emotionally how that makes her feel to be accused of terrible things that she had nothing to do with. And these people have no shame. It's sad, but whatever. We'll prevail and tell the story after that.
We also have Baza Media here tonight. What's up, Baza?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? How are you doing tonight, brother?
Doing great. I mean, I'm trying to stay optimistic and cool as a cucumber because what are we worried about? We can't worry about what we don't know.
I'm not worried about it right now. It's there's a lot of anxiousness, which is normal. So it's just a matter of just kind of keeping it together the best you can, and for all of us to just keep poised and confident. And I think we've been an energy based. As supporters, we've all been very energy driven. And that's been, we've kind of gone out there, supported and done our thing collectively, whether that's online or in person or otherwise. And right now, this is the point where it's out of our hands. We don't know the time frame. We don't know the timeline. And right now, that's probably this has really been the toughest part of this whole thing. It really is, because you have a jury right now, 12 individuals behind closed doors that are deliberating on a result that we're all heavily invested in, and none more than Karen Reed and her family. So it's just that's what the stress is right now, because like I said, for a lot of us, we've been invested in this for a long time. We've been following this for a long time, studying this for a long time, and we all have really come out with our own conclusion. And we have individuals behind a closed door right now that we don't know what they're thinking, how they're thinking it, how they're breaking it down, and what their process is. And it can be a little bit unnerving when you don't know what's going on the other side of that door, which makes the jury deliberation always the most nerve-wracking process, none more than for Karen, of course, and her family. So The message in all this is to just do everything you can, for all of you out there to stay poised, stay confident, stand tall, and trust for the end result. There's been a lot of speculation of the time frame of how long the jury's been deliberating. Some people think it's not a bad thing. Some people think it is a bad thing. Other people have a theory right now that they think it could end up as a hung jury. For me, I'm not really hanging on to the end result all that much because I know regardless of whatever happens, the only moment that's going to matter here is when that actual verdict is read in court for all three charges. And that's really what I'm just going to wait on. Now, I'm anxious just like everybody else, but at the same time, I'm just trying to stay as cool as I can right now, as difficult as that has been, just because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. And again, some people might say, well, maybe they're deliberating so much because they're going to determine her guilty. Well, at the same time, they could also be determining she's innocent. So it could go either way, and there's really no way of telling truly. So it's a waiting game. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. We all, when I was out there Tuesday, you were out there Tuesday, Mike, when we were both there, we were hoping that thing was going to be wrapped up by 4:30 in the afternoon, and they cut a lot earlier than that. And then, Wednesday, which is the original day I was going to go, didn't even happen that day. Hasn't even happened yesterday. Possibly, right now there could be a high chance it may or may not happen tomorrow. We don't know. It could spill into next week. But at the end of the day, I'm just believing in the end result that this jury will get it right and that it will be a not guilty verdict delivered, because at the end of the day, there's nothing but reasonable doubt here. And if any jury has, if a collective jury has any mind about it, a collective thought about it, there's nothing they can conclude, but we can't throw this woman behind bars.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Can we have a TED Talk for a minute?
Sure.
Everybody needs to chill. This is normal. Yes, I thought and others thought that there'd be a verdict quicker because the evidence is so weak against her. But you don't know what's going on in there. You don't know if there's a kook, a 2, 3, maybe even 4. Who knows how many? This is normal. It's a murder case with 70 witnesses, 2-month trial. Everybody needs to chill. The only certain thing I would be confident in telling you at this point is she's not going to get convicted, because they're not going to get 12 out of 12. That's not going to happen. Not that a mistrial is a good thing and a hung jury is a good thing. It's not. Just because of the awful thought of doing this again. But there's no reason to believe, just because they haven't decided yet, that they're not going to decide and reach a verdict. And if they do reach a verdict, it's going to be most likely an acquittal, because, again, all the charges relate to a car accident. And that's really the big issue. If there's no car accident, there's no conviction, period. If they split the baby, then they're accepting a car accident. That sounds like a cop-out verdict. And that's hard to believe that 12 people would agree to do that, don't you think? So everybody who's on the ledge, come back in, get a good night's sleep, smell the roses, do fun things, and chill out. This happens, and this is the tense part of a trial. We talked about this for lawyers, but it's also the normal part. And there's no reason to be all freaked out. The case against her stinks. There's no reason to believe that she's going to get convicted. So let the process play out. And I have a pretty strong feeling that you'll all be happy when it does. So you should worry about things that you can change, not things you can't. And no matter how much all of us worry about this, it's not going to make any difference at all to what's going on in the jury room. So I wouldn't speculate. I wouldn't worry. Jury's doing their thing. As far as I know, I wasn't involved today because I was busy with my own stuff. Did they even send any notes today?
I didn't hear any notes.
So-
Like, I was watching most of the afternoon, but I could have missed like in the morning. I'm not,
Okay.
even that I was watching a little bit. I didn't see that fan come off until at the end of the day.
When they
So,
dismissed them.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah, that
interesting.
man was
So,
working overtime today.
so today was what? Day 3?
Yep.
And they've had how many substantive notes? 1?
Pretty much. That's my
For
understanding.
the cert report?
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know what it means other than it's interesting because, that usually notes come flying when days go on, but they haven't. So I don't know, again, what to draw from that, but other than they're deliberating, they're working. Trust the process. The case stinks. Facts are facts. See where it goes. She's not going to get convicted. Is it a hung jury? Probably not, but it could be. I mean, it's 3 days. I don't think that's likely. But if it's a hung jury, are they going to retry her? I'm not so sure, to tell you the truth. They could, but a lot of their witnesses may be hesitant to testify again, don't you think? I mean, if you were Yuri Buchanan, would you want to testify again, knowing what you know now about the video, Proctor's text, other things? I mean, they could recalibrate their strategy and come more aggressive at a guy like that. If you're Proctor, are you going to testify again? If you're the DA, are you calling Proctor again? And if you do, what kind of pressure are you going to get from women's rights groups, politicians? Everybody needs to chill.
Yeah, I think so. I think tomorrow could be a good day. I mean, it could even take to next week. It could definitely go to next week.
It could, but tomorrow is kind of an interesting day in the sand just because it's the weekend, and but we're all speculating. We don't know. I mean, we guess, we thought, but at the end of the day, you don't know. There are 12 people you don't know. You have no idea what they're doing in there. For all you know, they're comparing their notebooks. Who's accurate? Who's not? Who said what? Who the hell knows? But why would anybody think, oh my God, it means they're going to convict her? Based on what?
I'm not seeing it.
There's no evidence of guilt. There's none. There's literally
If you
none
get
in
12
light
people, that seems impossible.
in light of the expert reports. There's no evidence that's without butt dials and all the other stuff. So just chill, people. End of
Yeah, we got a super chat about Brian Albert. People are talking about this, that they've been having parties at a VFW. I mean, I don't read much into that. Do you? Maybe just.
No, I don't read anything into
No
it.
photo came out. The photo came out
I-
about it today.
The only thing I read into it is their class list. But other than that, what is that? I mean, it doesn't impact the jury, but why are they having parties if they're worried about their close friend and whatnot? I don't know what to make of it. It means nothing to me. I just think they're very weird people.
They like to drink. They to me, it just shows again, they like to drink. They like to party.
Mhm.
This is what they do. Every single situation, it's a friggin' drinking party.
It's not going to affect the jury though. So at the end of the day, whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, there's
It means
people,
nothing beyond that.
there's people on both sides who are, quote unquote, partying is not the right word, but it doesn't impact the jury. So at this point, the only thing that matters is what the jury thinks. So
Exactly.
if they
Doesn't
want to
matter.
go drink some White Claws and whatnot, and God bless them, because after all, it is a Thursday, so that's a good reason to pound the White Claws, I guess.
That's
Here's
5
a
o'clock somewhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
here's a question that came in that I don't think is quite accurate or fair, but it does bring up an interesting point. She says, is it normal for a jury to decide when they go home? I don't think they've been deciding when to go home. I think Bev has given them some leeway. But I also question the fact that they go home so early. I mean, they did leave today. It seemed like at 3:30. The other day at 4. It's like you can't even push it to 4:30 or 5. Like,
It's not the jury's
what do you
fault.
think about that?
That's the judge's fault.
Okay.
Who's in charge here? Now, I'm not saying you have to crack the whip and be rude, but you're the judge, you're the authority figure. You'd like to think the jury considers you as such, and you should say, this is a serious case. It's important to all the parties. This is an important thing. So I really want to urge you to work until 4:35, whatever. And if the jury is asking every day, can we leave early? And she says yes, then who's in charge? Not her. So have they lost a couple of hours in total over the last couple of days because the jury says, I want to go home, and the judge says, that's not bad, I can go home too? It's not a good look. It doesn't matter, I guess, in the grand scheme, but if the judge is just dismissing them at 3:30, what's that all about? Unless somebody had a medical appointment or something, 3:30 is a little early when you're a juror on a murder case and a woman's life is hanging in the balance. So suck it up, Buttercup, and get to work.
I'm just reading the comments. Did anyone see this? They said, can you watch the clip after the sidebar this afternoon? It looked like you and Eddie and Karen were having an interesting convo.
I saw nothing today, so I don't know. I was busy all day. I did. So what are they talking
Did you see that, Mazza?
No, I did not.
Okay.
What are they talking about?
I don't know. I could play it again. I could find it on my YouTube.
Be curious.
I didn't see it. I don't, maybe I missed it because, once I knew it was over, I wasn't really, I mean, usually just kind of zone out on that. So I'm not sure.
This guy, John DePietro from the John DePietro show, this guy is the absolute worst. I gotta turn it up for this guy. This guy has been all over X all day. He's trying to claim like Karen is like frantic and was trying to say like they should have put me on the stand and now I'm, screwed and all that. This guy he is taken over as one of the worst so-called whatever he is, a media member, journalist, whatever that I've seen since Grant. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous.
So-called
right now.
journalist is the word I would use, right? So-called,
Yeah.
self-styled anyway.
Yeah.
What kind of crap? He's saying that Karen is what's freaked out. What is it?
Well, he's pulling the whole like per sources from trusted sources. I am told game here. So he goes from a trusted, and for some reason he looks like the guy from the movie. What's the movie with Kevin Costner, the baseball movie, Field of Dreams? They tried to get him to sell the farm. He looks like that guy. From a trusted courthouse source late today, Karen Reed overheard telling someone unknown this afternoon, quote, "I told them to put me on the fucking stand. I was told no, Karen, and now I'm fucked." End quote. Reed also complained about the judge, but it was muddled, developing. He's another guy that's writing all this shock bullshit. That's not true. He's just making it up. He's been doing this all day.
I would bet any sum of money that is 100% unadulterated bullshit.
It is, yeah.
He doesn't know what they're talking about, and she's not. Let me tell you something, okay? If she testified, it would be worse. I'm not saying that means she's guilty, but it would have created issues that you don't have to address. She was never going to testify. She knows that. Her lawyers know that. This clown, DePietro, has no clue. He should be just ignored.
Oh, absolutely.
That's stupid.
Oh, yeah.
He's a silly person.
Yeah.
He's a clown. This is the guy who said, earlier today, I checked with the police and they said it was okay for me to like talk on TV about the case. Is this was that real? I couldn't believe that. I saw that on the subway this morning. I said, this can't be real.
Do you notice all the people on the other side, like Wendy, she's been sanctioned. I was never sanctioned as a financial advisor. Have you ever been sanctioned, Mark?
No. What kind of question is that? Of course.
So Wendy got sanctioned, I think twice.
At least, I like to say at least twice.
Yeah.
Two we found.
DePietro is in radio. I'm like, there's not much you can screw up in radio, even with the government. But his wife did Arbitron ratings fraud for him, for DePietro. I mean, this is like, these people are just, they're not
clowns.
They are. They're the people I wouldn't hire to be a financial advisor.
No, he wants clicks. He knows this is a joke. He wants, engagement, clicks.
He needs the clicks, apparently, because his wife had to fix the Arbitron ratings in Rhode Island.
Yet they'll put him on court TV.
Yeah.
Right?
So they put him on court TV. And I heard Wendy World was on court TV. There was a picture of it.
Really need it.
Oh, boy.
I need to.
They'll bring anybody on that show. My goodness, they got Yellow Cottage fails. So thanks for going after him for me there when he kind of started going all over after me the other day there, Mike. He said some things about me it was about the Adam Lally video I posted. He was like making some comment. He goes, "You got a small mind, Mazza Media," and you're like, "Shut up."
Yeah, I just kind of slapped him with the truth. Like, dude, you're a snitch, and I have documentation of it. You and your friends.
Oh,
any guy who pulls a wrinkled collared shirt out of the hamper and gives what he calls a mock summation before, first of all, why is he doing a mock? Nobody cares about, you're not a lawyer. You're not in the case. Nobody wants to hear your summation, but if you're going to do it, idiot, at least do it after all the evidence is in. He did it before the ARCA guys were in. So he has reached a next level of stupidity that at this point, he should just be pushed to the side, marginalized, and ignored. He's crossed a new level of just silly.
Next level stupidity, idiots. Yeah. I love it. Those are some good ones.
Did you see this? Did you see his video? He's
Which
got this
one?
wrinkled half collared.
Oh, I
shirt,
couldn't watch that.
and-
Yeah.
oh, I did.
Yeah.
I all 17 minutes of it. I watched
Oh
it.
boy.
Yeah, it
but
was
I-
just him talking, right?
I didn't have the heart to tell him about all the reversible error that he committed in his prosecution's, summation for burden shifting and other things. But
Oh,
he's smarter
jeez.
than me, and I'm just a real estate lawyer, so I kept my
Right.
mouth
What do you know? I mean, you're only just an established defense attorney.
right.
I know you're representing someone from serious charges right now. And Kevin is like, I can't even watch him when he has people on his show. And that's easier to watch than when he does these solo shows like you're talking about. And this one, like, very serious. He's trying to be an actor like he's a trial attorney. It's just
You should
I could
watch it.
never watch that. I can't watch it. I
It's
can't.
17 minutes. You're never going to get back in your life, but you know what? It's worth it.
Next level cringe. It's next level cringe.
It is, and it's tough, but
tough.
soldier on. You'll get through it, and then you can join the laugh. It's fun.
I'd rather watch him interview Grant and KP. I mean, that's how bad it is. Than it's solo Kevin. Solo Kevin is just like another level. Do you agree with me, Mazza, too?
Yeah, it's all bad. It's all crazy. It's all jeez. This is the oh boy, it's horrible. It's like watching really bad B movies, watching some of these people out there. It's tough. But I can understand why Mark likes to watch them though, because it's so bad. It's somehow so good to watch because there's so much kind of material you can grab from it. So it's
Hey, listen, if he comes at me, I feel compelled to watch and point out what a freaking idiot he is. So I mean, he's meaningless. He's an irrelevant gnat, but
Oh.
I can't help myself if he's going to come at me like that. So
yeah.
It's funny too, because like the only thing he's done for me is he got me a nickname, a new nickname. I needed a new nickname. People are calling me Jelly as a sign of endearment now. They're like, "What's up, young Jelly?"
What does that even mean?
Young Jelly.
He's jealous of me. I think that's what it is. Like that's what people have said to me. He's jealous of me. I kind of like it. I'm the young Jelly now. People.
Yeah.
Any 10
It's like
drunks
my
in a
friend
bar.
Dave Tree was on. He was talking about how like he didn't come up with the name Dave Tree, and he kind of resented it because his band had broken up, and everyone was calling him Dave Tree. And then he just said, I'm running with it, and it worked. So it's funny. Like Kevin, I think you actually gave me something of value. Young Jelly, people like it.
He makes my head hurt. He's so stupid.
He is stupid.
I mean, but there's stupid and there's like really stupid. He is really stupid and it makes my head hurt. And I can't, I think he should just be, other than the video, you can't look away. It's like,
I'm going to have to watch that one now.
It's one of those train wrecks you have to watch. And he actually tries to sound like, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the trial. I mean, he's actually pretending to sum up to a jury. You got to watch it. I'm sorry. You got to watch it.
He's pretending. Is he really not a good actor either? Is he? He's
like
Tom
summing
Cruise
up to a jury in his wrinkled collared shirt and got his big microphone and but again he did it before.
He didn't stand up. He sat down to do it.
I don't remember. I just remembered kind of the wrinkled collared shirt and the fact that he did it before the defense put any of their experts on. And I just remember thinking like, generally the way trials work, the defense is allowed to introduce evidence too. And it's kind of important to address the important witnesses before you sum up. But again, he's smarter than all of us. So let's just let him do his thing.
What do we know?
Addict.
What do we know? Exactly.
What does Mark know?
Nothing. Other than he's
only
idiot.
a very experienced,
he's
very
an
educated
idiot. I
defense
love that.
attorney. Yeah.
I know that too. He's an idiot. Yeah, that's exactly it. He's full of himself. He's got some high.
I wasn't this nasty, by the way, until all these wackos started like attacking. So I'm really not this mean, but these ones who come at you and come at me, it's offensive, and you got to call a spade a spade. And this guy is a moron, and people should know that.
Oh, I think most people are aware. I'm surprised there's anybody still following him.
Well, he's got an echo chamber of people who think like him. He's
the McAlberts.
27 people who whatever.
So they keep asking us to put the Karen and Yannetti end of the
Yeah,
day.
what is this? I'm kind of curious.
We'll have to put that up. I'll find it in a second. This is whoa. What's going on here? Reality Check says okay, strictly for Mazza. Can you read that? What's going on here, Mazza?
Well done on your response. We to what the Karen is doing. Great to do. I posted under you. We are invested in believers in the truth, and we aren't going away. Yeah, just I think that was probably maybe to what I said earlier about standing tall and just not getting nervous and just not letting the waiting period and anxiousness of all this kind of make us fear for the outcome and just continue to trust in the end result. And like I said, this jury, they might be just taking a longer time. Now, not that, I don't know how long it usually takes for a jury in a murder trial on average, but I've heard some of the murder trials that go longer typically have not guilty verdicts at the end too. So
Hopefully.
yeah.
Question for Mark. They're wondering if you would ever have any interest of being a professor teaching law.
Zero. I don't mind mentoring and talking and whatever, but the idea of being a professor, zero.
I feel you on that one.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
I like practitioners, not academics.
Exactly. There's a difference between being academic and practicing. Yeah.
Huge. And if I ever was, it would have to be adjunct. When I was in law school, I always liked the adjunct professors, the ones who actually got out in the real world and did something, not the abstract, professors. I hate academic culture. That's just me. I can't stand it.
This person sees you as more of an Escalade guy rather than a Subway guy.
No, I don't. Not a Cadillac guy, and no, Subway's fine. It's a little grimy. It's a little gross. New York's not a great place right now, but it gets you from A to B.
Not above taking the Subway.
I'm like Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate. Remember how he said in that scene how much he loves taking the subway? It's all right. As long as you don't get shanked, it's good.
Now they want us to do a show with the Glera and Mazza to go over the Yellow Cottage Tale together. The Glera is famous for doing
that.
So that we don't get many views. We watch it on the Glera that he rewatches it. It's funny.
You have to watch this video. You really do.
I'm gonna have to.
It's only 17 minutes, and
it's
when it's over, you're gonna say, "Why did I do that?" But then later on, you're gonna say, "This is kind of funny."
It is.
He's being serious. He practiced. You have to understand. He practiced this. This is not a one-time. Here I go. This is something that took time.
I wonder how much time he spent.
It's really dumb, and it makes no sense. Doesn't include all the evidence, and he's proud of it. I mean, it's like the worst cell phone you can imagine.
There's a comment that came in apparently from basically Nick Rocco giving an update. He said everything is fine.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
I mean, they're anxious, of course, but there's no reason to be despondent.
I'm going to find that. Let me go to my YouTube real quick. You guys have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do. I want to respond to Reality Check here. Just what the second super chat she just posted. So I know what she's talking about now. So and thanks for clarifying. So there was a person online that wrote, the Free Karen Read movement doesn't understand that if the jury is hung, it will allow the Commonwealth to perfect their case, and the second trial will be a conviction. So then she goes, also, it's going to cost the Reed family another $500,000. She won't be able to hire Alan Jackson again. So this post went out the other day, and I fired back at it. And what was funny about it is that person got 284 likes. I got 418 likes, more than them, of course, when I wrote back, we'll just raise more money for Karen Reed all over again in that scenario, just like we did this time. Next time, with far more supporters than last time. We got our money problem solved if necessary. So basically, they were just trying to say if this was a hung jury or whatever, and this went to another trial, that Karen wouldn't be able to get the same financial backing again. I just disagreed because there's more supporters now for Karen Reed than there was when we were all originally raising money for her going back a year ago. So it don't make no sense. So
I had people hit me up today that for my daily life who were like, discovered I was covering this and like, how do I give money to Karen Reed today? Today, people just discovering this.
So I hate doing this because it's so speculative, and I still don't think there's going to be a retrial. But if there were, the idea that would favor the prosecution is profoundly wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. first of all, the prosecution has the burden of proof. All right. The defense is going to have transcripts from testimony of approximately 60 witnesses. They put on a pretty thin case. If anybody's going to recalibrate, it could be them. They're going to have transcripts of all these witnesses. They're going to know what the DA's theory is. They can't really change it. All right. This would only inure to her benefit, assuming there's no other issues. And I think it's really pointless and frankly wrong to speculate as to whether her lawyers would return or not, or what it's going to cost. These lawyers are dedicated professionals. They're not going to leave her in the lurch. Now, that doesn't mean they would necessarily work pro bono for free, but this is a speculative conversation, but the idea that these lawyers who have dedicated 2 years of their lives essentially to helping her would all of a sudden just run away because, hey, I tried, so what? You're on your own. I think that's unfair to Alan Jackson and David Yannetti, frankly. They're not going to
It
do
is,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I saw that. And I'm like, usually I don't argue with hypotheticals, but I'm like, well, let's just take your scenario under advisement for a second. Let's actually talk about it. Well, you're wrong. That's basically, that's why I looked at that. I'm like, guys, I hate, like you said, I hate to talk about the hypotheticals
So
like
but
that.
why
But
would
that one,
anybody even speculate whether they're going to stay or go? They don't know. They don't
that's
know
right.
what their
That's right.
financial arrangement is. They don't
Yeah.
know what their connection to the case is. But if you watch the trial, how invested do you think these guys look? I'd say pretty
Very,
damn invested.
very.
That's
So they're
right.
just going to walk away and leave her in the
Right.
lurch?
No way.
Right.
Come on.
They're
These
trying to
guys
just
are
troll everybody and just make
Yeah.
everybody get all afraid and all, if there's
Yeah.
a hung
That's the
jury,
whole
it's
thing they've been doing for the
and
whole time.
also
Yeah.
when we talked about this before, lawyers have egos. We all do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And if you think lawyers like these two guys are walking away on a freaking
Yep.
hung jury,
Yeah.
okay, forget the money. If you think they're walking away and like we didn't win
Yeah.
with everything going on, I would suggest to you that the odds of that are pretty damn close to zero, that they're going to come in and want to kick some ass and win, spike the football, and then go home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And don't they like the
100%.
attention?
Yeah.
The attorneys like this
Of
is like
course
you
they
can't
do.
get a case that has more
And there's
attention.
nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But of course these guys do. It's a huge case. They've done a great job. Yeah, they want the win and the glory, but what they want primarily is
Help
their
her.
innocent client to get out of the jam she's in. And the
Right.
idea with the relationships that they've created with her, the family, the people, and they're going to just skulk away because
way.
you're not paying me enough. I'm
Yeah.
sure they would figure that out. So this is a
Yeah.
silly
Yeah.
speculation.
Here's a question
Oh,
that came
yeah.
up about the jurors. This is what I get worried about too. We don't know. But
I've never been involved in. I mean, I've never been in a case where a juror was paid. I mean, that happened in John Gotti, a couple other cases, but no, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I've heard of it, but it's not common. But I mean, why would we assume it happened here? I think
we
I don't
shouldn't
think
worry about that.
anybody's
That's a
doing
lot.
any
So are you
favors.
saying that's illogical that I should have that fear? Like honestly, I wanted you to be honest on that. It's illogical.
Yes, I look. I think it's not doing anything good by creating conspiracy theories and seeing goblins in every window. If they're attacking people who believe Karen Reed is innocent, as I do, that there's all these conspiracies and goblins in windows. I think if everything is a conspiracy, I think you're just discrediting, not you personally. I mean,
Yeah, no.
are discrediting themselves. And just to assume because there's no verdict that, the jury must be tampered with. I'm being honest with you. That's not credible. That's not how. Now, I don't know what's going on or not what's going on, but everything is not a conspiracy. Everything is not, a calculated
and it's
effort.
not likely. That's a big point that I want to make for people.
No, it's not
People-
likely. And it's
not
a hard
likely.
thing to do. And to be honest with you, the Brian Alberts of the world, whatever they are, they're not sophisticated
Yeah,
gangsters.
they can't pull it
okay?
off.
They're not the
They don't
mafia.
got the
Not
juice.
really.
They don't have the juice.
Okay. They may
They
be
strive for that.
Yeah,
They
they
may be
strive
the-
for it, but they don't have it.
they
Yeah.
may be, in some people's minds, the equivalent of the Canton Irish mafia, whatever. But are they fixing jurors? Come on. I mean, short of evidence of that, I would really encourage people. You're just discrediting your own credibility. And if you support Karen's innocence, I don't take this the wrong way. You're not helping.
But we should worry about it. I think that's a big thing because we get anxiety. And I think we need to, like you said, just Be positive. Don't worry about things that 99.99999% is not likely to happen.
Is it
Right?
really
And that's
wrong
it.
for jurors to methodically go through the evidence?
No,
No.
that's
Did I
normal.
think that they would do it
Especially
quicker?
when it's this
I
long,
did.
right? When it
Yeah.
was this many weeks, it makes it more likely they review it longer, right?
Yeah. And, in all fairness, maybe I'm not the most credible person on this because I thought it would be over by now, but I was wrong. But that doesn't mean, oh my God, just because it's all speculation. We don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's right.
Even when I think it'll be over in a day. I have no knowledge. What do I know? That's just an educated guess. You have no
Yep.
idea what they're doing in there. For all you know, there's one kook and they're badgering and trying to break them down all day, every day. We don't know.
The overthinking juror. That's the worst thing
Could
that can
be.
ever possibly happen, you know?
You
Yeah,
just don't know. But
right.
assuming the jury is corrupt, the judge is corrupt, the Alberts are fixing this, I think that really, I think that doesn't do good for what people are, for credibility of what you're trying to do.
Now, this comment came out that retrials are usually less expensive. Isn't that true?
It depends. I mean, you have to understand how lawyers bill. Okay. Are they billing flat? Or are they billing hourly? What is it? I don't know. Discovery is done. Yes, but you have to get transcripts from 70 witnesses. That costs money. You have to house the lawyers who are from California for months. That costs money. You're going to be in court every day for God knows how long. That costs money. So it may be less expensive. I don't know if I would use the modifying word much. I would not say half the cost. I don't respectfully think you would know that. I don't know what arrangements they would make. And again, I think it's premature.
Excellent. Here's a comment about Kevin. I guess he's on Court TV right now. This is the mockery of Court TV that they put this jackass
Listen,
on.
If Court TV put this guy and Wendy Murphy on back-to-back days, then they've made themselves a clown car. That's it. I mean, they're a joke. If they put Wendy Murphy on like we thought the other day, to me that's just a deal breaker. I mean, credibility wise, and this guy, Yellow Cottage idiot, that's just too much.
When he makes a statement like this at the end,
What did he say?
he said 100% she hit him. And if she was found innocent or not guilty, if she got a unanimous not guilty plea, could he be liable for that statement, you think?
No, it's an opinion. I mean, no, I don't think that's a slanderous or defamatory thing. That's an opinion, but let's be honest, it's freaking stupid. I mean, in light of the evidence in the case, and moreover, who the hell is this clown to say 100%? How does he know?
Yeah.
I mean, he can say, in my view, I think this is the credible evidence and not. But when you start making grandiose statements from the peanut gallery, that this is 100% what happened, you're an idiot. What do you know?
Mm.
And this is the idiot who made the videos, which show nothing. So he should, it's more a Court TV problem than him, I think.
Let's, we got the video. You want to
There we
play
go.
that
Yeah,
video and see
I don't
what's
know what
going
we're
on? If we
It's
missed
being requested.
something, I don't know. Maybe we did.
Shout out to Kelly Reed in the comments. What's going on, Kelly? We love you. We love the Reed family.
Yes, we do. There we go. I think I got it here.
Home.
Is this today?
Courtney Beverly Canoni. There
How
she
could
is.
I have this?
So far, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. This is where they're telling us that something happened.
Boy, he looks like I've seen parents of murder victims like him, and it's giving me like PTSD. I've seen this look. It's terrible. Oh, we know those people. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Nathan's a nice guy. I like him a
Yeah,
lot.
great. Yeah,
Very
Yeah.
nice.
great
Yep.
guy. Yeah.
Yep.
After the sidebar, they're saying. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I'll speed up the sidebar. Put it a little quicker.
If you hit L or J, L on your keyboard, just fast forwards 10 seconds at a time too.
Is that how you do that? I had no
Yeah,
idea.
L. Yeah, just tap L, and it will keep
Really?
fast forward. Yeah, you tap
Right.
L, and if you want to tap J, you can go back.
Well, looks like they're
And K
talking now.
pauses.
What's
Yeah.
going on?
So now I'll hit slow down, I guess. Yeah, this is the point. This is it. So let me.
I mean, lawyer and
slow down
client
again.
talking is about as interesting as, you know,
You're right.
water coming out
Yeah.
of the faucet. I don't know what I'm looking
Let's
at.
see if there's anything else here.
I'll talk.
Why is this interesting? I don't know what I'm missing here.
Yeah.
They're having a conversation between lawyer and client.
Yeah.
I find that completely nothing. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I guess I didn't really put much thought to it when it was
I
live.
think people are just overanalyzing so much stuff. I mean, I know they're tense and they want something to happen, but now we're analyzing lawyer and client just talking to each other.
No, that was it. That I know, right?
That is 1,000%.
no wonder why I didn't notice that. I saw that earlier. It just clicked on me that I did watch that. It just seemed like nothing to me.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I draw absolutely nothing from that. She's talking to her lawyer. That's what she's supposed to do.
Yep.
What are people saying and why? I
Aaron,
mean, just
Aaron
curious.
got booted. Someone said Aaron. Well, it said watch Aaron. Aaron got booted.
Hold on one second.
It's all about Aaron. Aaron walks out. I don't know who Aaron is, but yeah, that's what they're saying. It basically has something to do with Aaron. Basically, that's what it's about. So yeah, everyone keeps saying watch Aaron.
Who is
What
Aaron?
does Aaron? Yeah, what does Aaron look like descriptively? Let's see if we can get some feedback on this.
Did we miss it? Is it coming up after? Did we?
Oh, Aaron O'Keefe. Okay.
My
Paul's
girlfriend just
Paul's
came
one.
down, knocking on the door, saying the same thing. It's so funny.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
funny.
are missing it. You're missing it. It's
You're
Aaron
missing the
O'Keefe.
point. You're missing the point.
What's going on? Explain.
Which one is she?
The one that was sitting next to Paul. Something happened there. We'll have to back it up just a little bit and see what
Okay,
happened.
we'll back it up.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah,
my
gee.
girlfriend catch this and we didn't?
I don't know.
She's watching.
Women's
let's watch it.
intuition.
Yeah.
Never underestimate it. So that's Paul right there with the like shirt button that's kind of
Yep. And that's his wife in the dungaree jacket.
like directly across from
Yep.
Karen. Okay.
Exactly.
So she's getting booted.
Did she actually get booted though, or did she just leave? Maybe she had to hit the bathroom.
Jim.
I don't see her doing anything.
Yeah. I'll talk.
That's Paul O'Keefe's wife.
Yep.
Okay. She just seems to be sitting there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what people are talking about. We'll see.
Now they're pointing at the one next to me. I'm out. Okay. Well, she's getting called. Does that mean she got thrown out or somebody wanted to talk to her? I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't like people talking, though. I'll tell you one thing, because there was when there was a
Maybe
sidebar
that's
going on when I
why.
was in there, they had talked to the woman that was with me, not with me, but next to me, and they're like, guys, shh, be quiet, and
Maybe
like,
that's why she was
yeah,
talking. Maybe it's
yeah,
as simple as that, right?
Yeah, but
yeah.
if that's
It
the
is.
case, I mean, who cares, really?
Yeah, I know. You'd
It's
call it a nothing burger, Mark.
that's a double nothing burger with a lot of ketchup. I mean,
Extra
that's
cheese.
yeah.
I think that's why you're here to dispel kind of,
Yeah,
I got to be honest. I think people are grasping.
I
They're
agree.
yeah,
they're losing their minds, looking for
I mean,
any.
even me, I like I said, I had to worry
yeah,
about the planted juror, but I think you're so right. It's
yeah,
like how could they pull that off? They're not that sophisticated. They're not the
yeah.
mafia. Even I don't even think Whitey Bulger could actually do that when he had that much power back in the day. It's just
Seriously,
a
yeah.
very
That
difficult.
that I'm not sure I agree
Yeah,
with
I mean,
you, but
it's more likely he could do it than anyone back then. But even him,
yeah,
it wouldn't be that easy.
Mm.
no, it's not easy. They don't own a juror. Heard a lawyer say defense attorney clients are criminals. Okay, well, some are, but some are innocent, some are guilty, and some are somewhere in between. I don't. It's
Yeah.
too broad. It's too
It's
broad a
it's like
category.
saying all cops are evil
Right.
or all
Right.
cops are bad or all cops are great. I mean, the extremes. It's
You never know. I mean, I have somebody, right now, she's actually innocent. It happens. Others are not so innocent. It's the nature of the beast. You get all types.
it's a comment. Mark, why is Karen being charged with driving under the influence?
I don't believe she is. I mean, that's kind of a element of some of the crimes against her, but I don't believe she is being charged on the verdict sheet with just basic drunk driving. It's an element of some of the other crimes, but not she's not being charged just with operating under the influence. Nobody wanted that charge, which I think for the defense was a smart move.
Here's a comment about Sean McDonough about the tow driver. He said he did not drive the car into the Sally port. Makes sense because originally Yuri undirected identified himself. On cross, he said it was the tow operator.
Well, I think this is a good comment to the point from earlier. I mean, not to go down the rabbit hole of a retrial, but if there were a retrial, do you want to be, if you're Yuri Buchanan, do you want to testify again about this, about the inverted video that you forgot to mention, about the glass that revealed itself now that the ARCA stuff is out there, about your involvement in the text messages with Proctor, about your involvement with shaking down the ME? Probably not. I think he is a really interesting character in all of this. He seems to be a lot smoother, smarmier even than Proctor, and his role in this I find really disturbing. And I would, if there were a retrial, which again, I think this is stupid to discuss too much, but I would expect them to go at him 1,000 times harder if he's
Yeah.
willing to testify. He's got problems. If he testifies at a retrial, he's got issues with the video, the Sally port, and this other stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if he would make it clear that I really would prefer not to do that. Now, these idiots have all waived the Fifth Amendment right because they all testified, even though they shouldn't have. So him and Proctor can't claim the Fifth, but
Someone said, is the court transcript part of evidence? If not, there's a lot to remember and go over. 2 months of witnesses all have talked about this daily.
no, they're prior statements of witnesses that are made under oath, which are important. They can be used to cross-examine. Because they were made under oath and subject to cross-examination, they can be entered into evidence in certain circumstances. So that's a huge advantage for the defense. I mean, they're going to get 70 transcripts. Look at the defense witnesses. They're going to get, the prosecution is going to get transcripts of the ARCA witnesses. Who cares? A transcript of some doctors. Who cares? And maybe one could argue the only one that they would be concerned about is a transcript of Lucky, right? Assuming there were any issues there. But on the other hand, there are about 70 or so witnesses for the prosecution that the defense would get access to, including many, many who are civilians. So, or dirty cops, allegedly. So that favors the defense by a lot if it happens.
Janelle,
Yes.
question about hung jury. I think we answered this before.
Yep.
It would likely be the same judge, wouldn't it?
Unless she walked away for some reason, they would, and in normal circumstances, you would want it to be the same judge. This may not be normal circumstances for other reasons, but she's familiar with the case. It doesn't make sense to bring in a judge who knows nothing about it, other than the fact that, you know, you hate the judge. But when the court system assigns a judge, they don't look at it the same way as the people who say the judge is corrupt. They look at it as the judge knows the case and it makes sense for her to stay on.
It's a great question. I think it's for all of us, actually, because I think we're all aware of the politics here, especially Maz and I, because we live in the state currently. How do you think the Governor Maura Healey will handle a not guilty verdict? Will the DA and state police take a big hit? I think they will. I don't know about the governor, what she will do, because she has been milquetoast on any type of scandal anywhere. She never actually does anything, especially when it has to do with the state police. And I'll note that it's come out, she's dated state police officers. So maybe they got some dirt on her. I mean, you know, think about that. Think about that. You know,
I don't
maybe she's
know,
a little
but-
conflicted.
I don't know, but I don't know that it would relate to a not guilty verdict. After the case, the proctor and others are going to be in trouble. And you do, again, God, if there is a retrial, I hate talking like this, but there is a political issue. If you're the DA, are you green lighting Proctor to testify if he's willing? Are you going to now once again vouch for his credibility and go through this spectacle of all these messages? How does that look to a female governor, female constituents and whatnot, that the DA is comfortable with just continuing to call this guy? To me, I don't know that he's going to be available to testify if there's a retrial for a lot of reasons. And ultimately, I don't think his future is going to depend on a guilty or not guilty verdict. He's toast either
He's
way.
done.
He's
What do you
done.
think the governor will do if it's a not guilty verdict, though?
Well, that makes it easier, I suppose, because you can say, you know, you don't have to deal with the whole Karen Reed fallout and a retrial. Or, I mean, if it's guilty, well, it's not going to be guilty, but I just think it's easier for the governor if it's not guilty. But even if it's a hung jury, how do you justify Michael Proctor sticking around and working for the state police? You can't. He is damaged goods. He's useless as a police officer. He's never going to be considered a credible witness again on anything, notwithstanding what, you know, his supporters and his family believe, whatever. He's useless to the state police. He's toast.
That's a good point, that it would probably be more difficult for the governor if it's a hung jury for her, because now you're right. Like,
Would. You have to
Yeah.
understand, he's the guy who claims the evidence revealed itself, or at least some of it. So, you know, you're back to that situation where what if he doesn't testify? And I'm telling you, I don't know why people would assume that Buchanan would testify again. He appears to be smarter than Proctor. He appears to be, in some ways, a little smarmier than Proctor, but he's in some serious jeopardy here. He gave testimony that is really disturbing about the video, about what he saw on the Sally Port and who people were, including identifying himself and other people. He also discovered evidence that revealed itself. He wants this over, believe me, whether it's a conviction or acquittal. The last thing that these state police guys want is a hung jury. They'd rather have Karen Reed get acquitted than get a hung jury.
Mazzy, getting a comment?
Yeah, I just like I said, I just think that Proctor, what is he even still doing as an active police officer? I mean, considering the fact that he's had to testify in this particular case, there's a lot of questions about him. That just something like that just makes you wonder why they just don't. I mean, I heard there was an internal investigation that they said they were doing. That doesn't really seem to bear much weight, so it just, I'm not. I don't know. I would say at the highest level of the state, they should basically make sure that guy's put on sideline somewhere for a while. Ultimately, from our perspective, just fired ultimately, and really brought up on charges. But from the most standpoint of the state, it just seems like they're not doing much. And I think the worst that's going to come from this, if there is a not guilty verdict, is that they're just going to basically get rid of Proctor. They're going to, well, it was an isolated incident. It was this particular cop, maybe a few others. That's it. And then any kind of larger issue from the state police level probably won't even be tended to at all from the governor's level or any other level in the state.
Unless people continue to
Right.
push it. And I
That's
think
right.
that's
Yeah.
a possibility especially with the media coverage. I think the
Yeah.
media has woken up that there are issues. And what are these issues? It's the DAs, state police working together like this. There's something not working there. It
I
seems
think the
very
issue
clear.
is the other state troop. Proctor's gone because for the simple reason he's useless to the state police after this case. He can't testify. He is a disgraced scumbag. He's done. He has no value to them as a law enforcement agency in terms of providing testimony in court or doing investigative functions, which might
Mm.
result in him or require his testimony at a later date. That renders him completely useless to them. And on top of the fact that he's just a dirtbag, he's gross, he's a misogynist, he's a pig, he's corrupt, he's full of shit in many ways about things that he claims. It's not, Proctor is old news. The real question is who else goes in the state police?
Right.
If anyone. Who, if anyone, right?
Yeah. Who, if anyone? What, if anything?
Right.
It's a question. If there's a hung jury and the DA wants to fully retry the case, can the defense ask for a change of venue?
I sure as hell would.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
That's a good call. Yeah.
There's also a question about do you think that they would even consider or request sequestering the jury next time?
Yes. I think that certainly I mean, if I was the prosecution, I would seek that because look, let's be honest, 98% of the media attention is favorable to the defense. There's potentially, I mean, like the Boston Herald today, the front page, that was bad, but that's the judge's fault. But nevertheless, that was bad. You don't want the jury, they're not supposed to see anything, but you don't want them seeing a front page story about the defendant laughing during a murder trial, right? I mean, that was the front page, that the judge yelled at her for laughing. Short of that, though, vast majority of the media attention has been favorable. I would think that the prosecution wants sequestration. I mean, imagine if the jurors had to walk in the front door of a courthouse and they see what's going on outside. That's 3,000 people favoring a defendant in a cop killer case. You're never going to see that again. I mean, that's crazy, right?
Mhm.
So if I were the DA, I would want the jurors sequestered. Now, the problem is, given the pace that they move, sequestering people from 2 months is torture. I mean, that's a hell of an ask to keep people away from the real world for 2 months.
Right.
It's huge. I wonder who. I mean, I can't imagine a lot of people who would want to do that. It'd be very difficult to find people. I mean, you'd really have to want to be there, I guess.
I would, but if I were the defense, and here we go again, if there was a retrial, I would try to move it out of as far away from Norfolk County as possible, just to guarantee that, number one, there's nobody from Canton, and number two, just get away from anybody possibly connected to these Alberts, and avoid this absolutely ridiculous Godfather 2 type scene that you saw the other day in staring at the jurors, the whole Frankie Pentangeli thing. It's crazy. So I would try to move it for sure. And of course, how are you ever going to get a jury on a retrial? Because the potential jurors, whether it's Norfolk County or anywhere else, they're all watching, they're listening. It was already a high profile case. It was hard enough to get a juror the first time. Now, how much worse is it 2 months later with all the attention it's been getting now. How are you ever going to get jurors who have not heard about this or don't have opinions about it? It seems everyone has an opinion about this one way or the other. I heard waitresses arguing in a restaurant when I was in Massachusetts several weeks ago. Not arguing, that's not fair, but like having a very
Discussing it. Heated a little
spirited
bit.
discussion, polite, not arguing, that's not fair, but actually having a very spirited discussion about all of this. And that, I mean, that's, you don't usually see that.
We kind of answered this Stephanie's question, but again, it kind of comes up that people are concerned that the McAlberts have fixed the jury, which Mark has already said there's no chance. It's
I don't think they've fixed
Yeah.
it, but do
Yeah.
I think they're trying to intimidate it? Sure.
Yeah.
And particularly, I mean, I think it's a fair point at the end. Why would Colin be there? He's the weirdest one to be there because he has no real connection to John O'Keefe. He doesn't know him. He doesn't care. I mean, Brian Albert could theoretically say, oh, that's my colleague. Jennifer McCabe told you hypothetically that this was a big deal to her and her friend. Colin, why would he go other than some form of gaslighting and intimidation and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Jen, she's always so present when she's in court, huh?
her eyes are zoned in. It was very
Yeah. Oh, it's
interesting.
nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Staring.
She looks like she got her hair did before she went for her big day.
Oh, I'm sure. What woman wouldn't, though? I mean, come on. Women, a lot of women like to get their hair done. I don't blame her. Cheryl says, was it made clear enough to the jury that the defense didn't have to prove who actually did it? Was definition of reasonable doubt stressed enough? What do you think, Mark?
I don't know. Not really. I mean, at the end it was, but I mean, I did a summation today. Now, in all fairness, bench trial, talking to a judge. So when you talk to a judge, it tends to be much more emphasis on the legal issues because that's jury and judge essentially. I would want in a case like this to really emphasize the burden of proof any chance I got throughout and circle back to it. They did mention it and they mentioned it very effectively and how high the standard is. So I don't know, but maybe a little more.
What are your final thoughts tonight? Because I did want to wrap it up a little bit early tonight. I think we've all had a long week, and we may be back tomorrow night. Who knows, right?
You never know when
Yeah.
this is going to
Yep.
end.
You
Yeah.
never
Hopefully
know.
the news we've
We
all
don't
been
know.
waiting for, not guilty.
Yeah. What's your final thoughts tonight, Mazza?
We all just got to make sure we're not getting, like I said yesterday on my own show, this whole, my theory is it's going to be a hung jury. My theory is that the jury is being tampered with, or there's people that are in the jury that have been handpicked to make sure the verdict is a hung jury or guilty. It's just, you got to push that all aside right now. That's just, I understand people are afraid of outcomes and having to wait and all that, but at the end of the day, I would just trust this process trust the jury's deliberation process until you actually hear a verdict. And if that verdict ends up being controversial and not to your liking, then wait to just kind of lose your mind then and
Yeah.
be upset and all that. But I'm not going to sit here between now and the verdict and be like, if they come out and they say, I'm not doing anything. I am staying as relaxed as possible right now,
Yeah.
as poised as possible, as comfortable as possible, as stressful as this can be, and as anxious as I do feel like everybody else. Just going to wait. I'm going to show some poise, patience. I'm going to wait for that verdict, and I'm going to react accordingly once that verdict comes out. If it's a guilty verdict, I'm going to be furious. If it's a hung jury, I'm going to roll my eyes. And if it's not guilty, which I'm expecting, I'm going to jump out of my seat and I'm going to celebrate. And,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know how long this is going to take. It may end tomorrow. It may not end tomorrow. It may go into July. It may go after July 4th. I don't know. It depends. It depends on this whole jury. These people could be very, taking it very seriously, thumbing over it, going very thoroughly over everything, detail by detail by detail. They might have already all had an attitude from the beginning that she's not guilty, but they just want to double check everything just to make sure. They're not like us where they've been following this for months on end and know every fabric and every detail. They're probably trying to do it carefully. So a lot of people might say, well, don't be too confident about the jury. Look, at the same time, I have no reason to doubt the jury either. I've seen the jury in person. They seem like they're people that are pretty solid. I don't see any people up there that seem like they're suspicious. So, like I said, I'm going to trust the process for now. And if that verdict comes out not the way that I hope it does, then I'm going to react accordingly after that. Then you'll see me ranting and raving about the whole process, about how, because I'll be furious if she goes to jail. I'll be furious if she's guilty. Even a hung jury, I'll be disappointed with. Nothing, anything but not guilty is going to have me not happy. So,
Excellent.
like I said, I'm going to save my reactions and just stay patient in the meantime. And that's that.
I think if people want to focus on anything like positive thoughts, put positive thoughts for the jury that they do the right thing. That's the only thing we can control. It's just focus on that you're just wishing that the jury does the right thing, and that's all you can do. I think is just hope that the jury does the right thing. What do you think, Attorney Bederow?
I agree with that. And you're in that phase where there's nothing you can do. It's over. The trial is over. There's literally nothing for the lawyers to do. There's nothing for anyone else who's interested in this to do. So my thought is to give a warm and fuzzy message, which is, if you want to be helpful, the best thing you can do right now is, if you know Karen Reed or her family or friends or supporters, then reach out and tell them you're thinking of them and support them. That's all. Other than that, there's nothing you can do. As you said previously, you've met these people. I've met these people. They're wonderful people, up and down the whole family chain. And so tell them, you're thinking of them and supporting them, and that's all you can do. There's nothing else you can do other than be a good person and provide support, because the jury determines what happens, not you. So I would think of, the people that are going through the tough stress part of it, which would be, the defendant, obviously, and her family. So that's all you can do.
That's why we're doing a show tonight. We support Karen Reed. We were wishing the best for her and her family, and hoping that everyone else does the same. Keep their head up and send her as much support. Send as much support to her family, her loved ones. So thankful that her family is even. I know some of them are watching. Kelly Reed was in here tonight. Thank you, Kelly Reed. We love you, Kelly Reed. You're amazing.
We do.
They've all done a great job. Nathan, the father, the mom, they're just great people. The lawyers have done it. I mean, it's a good
crew. It's a really
crew.
Top to bottom, lawyers, family. They're really nice people. They're good. They're going through hell, but with their heads held high. So that's all you can do is support them.
I have a final question for Mark tonight, because we opened it up about your case that you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this Brooklyn DA? Like, why is he allowing this to happen? Do people have to start looking at re-election or protesting him? What people want to know, how they can help in that. Is there anything they can do to help your client?
The case right now is actually Queens, not Brooklyn.
Queens. I thought it was Brooklyn. Okay, so it's Queens.
It's the other outer borough. Yeah. No, this one is in Queens. They are a very rigid DA's office, and they're just treating her in a terrible, terrible way. They have no nuance. They're just kind of like bulls in a china shop. They just, run at one speed. They only know one speed, and they just have no nuance, no ability to assess what they're dealing with. They shouldn't be prosecuting this woman, but if they really felt they had to, there's a much better approach that they could be doing it. But instead, they just don't care that she's been treated so poorly for so long, and they've abused her in a courtroom sense for a couple of weeks, and it's sick. And the more of this is going to come out in the next few days. I mean, we're really upset about it. And if they said the things that they said today in a courtroom, if they said it on the street, we'd probably sue them for slander. It's that bad. But you get a privilege when you say it in a courtroom. So, but suggesting that she was complicit or knowledgeable about a homicide is just, for a prosecutor to do that in If there had been a jury, there would have been a mistrial, no question. But it's a bench trial, so a judge doesn't get unduly influenced by this stuff. But if there had been a jury, it would have been a mistrial without a retrial because they caused the mistrial, and that would have been the end of it. So that's kind of ironic in the sense that we decided to have a bench trial. Now, today we wish there was a jury, but I think it'll be over for her next week, and then there'll be a lot more to say then because we're not going to stand for this. It's really disturbing what they're doing to this poor innocent woman.
Keep us updated.
will.
And best of luck. I can't wait to hear the results of this. Hopefully it's good news. July 3rd, I think you said.
July 3rd. I certainly hope so. It'll be profoundly disappointing if it was bad news, but I can't fathom how that could possibly be. It's we feel very good about where it is evidentiary wise. The case is just, it has no legs.
Hopefully the judge does the right thing on this, and hopefully the jury does too. That's what we're hoping for. I thank you guys so much for being here tonight again.
Thank
Hopefully
you. Free
we'll talk
Karen Reed.
tomorrow night. Yeah,
Not
free Karen
guilty.
Reed.
Not guilty. Not guilty. As soon as possible. We want that verdict tomorrow if we can get it. But,
Keep your
that's
fingers
it.
crossed, everyone. Like
Yep.
prayers up. If you pray, do some
Yep.
praying. Do some prayers.
Yep. Karen Reed, factually innocent. We love the whole Reed family. Free Karen Reed. Let's go. All right. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you,
Take care.
gentlemen. Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Bye.
You too.
And hopefully we'll talk to them tomorrow night. There was another super chat that came in that I can answer. How can the town of Canton get Chris Albert removed from the select board? There's so many issues there. Daily Lynn sent $5. Rita Lombardi just addressed that the other night. Actually, yesterday, I filmed some video with her that we just posted on YouTube. You can watch that. But basically, there's an election next April that I believe his seat will be up. I'm pretty sure if I'm correct on that. But Rita brought up the recall issue. They talked about the recall before, but they had other priorities with, open seats happening and the Canton special town meeting for the police audit and then the Karen Reed trial. But after all of this is kind of wrapped up, they're starting to think maybe they might have to recall Chris Albert. Maybe they'll recall some other select board members. So it's possible. They may need your help too. If you're local, they're probably going to be collecting signatures. They may have another signature campaign to change that. So change should be coming one way or the other. Thank you for the question and the donation. And I will definitely continue to cover Canton Select Board and all that's been going on. We're not going to let that go. And Sandra Birchmore. There's so much other, people are worried. What am I going to do when Karen Reed's gone? I'm going to miss Mark and Mazza and Mike. And you could tell tonight there will be other topics. Mark is defending people all the time. So, we could do other shows about other topics. Trust me, there will be more shows. All right. I'm just checking the Venmo. Oh, money did come in tonight. Thank you so much for the donations. Heather sent $5. She said, thank you for all you do. Free Karen Reed. Thank you so much. Hashtag FKR. Thank you, Heather. Tim sent $20. He said, is Bev more likely to accept a hung jury instead of trying to get them to keep deliberating to unanimous verdict? I mean, we don't know how Bev's going to react. Attorney Bederow did say in the past that sometimes a judge will push one extra time to keep them deliberating, but that a lot of times once the jury says they're deadlocked and that there's no hope, that most judges call it a day. So it's really going to be up to the judge at that point. But again, once the jury is deadlocked, I feel like they're deadlocked, and that's usually how it goes. Thank you so much, Tim. Good question. Stacy sent $20. Thoughts about Coffin Daffer calling out the juror with a pink dress. Could that be considered doxing? I would not be happy if that were me. I didn't see that. Please send that to me. Anyone who's seen that, send that to me. Because that does sound like witness intimidation. I'm not sure, but it's possible, right? So send me that tweet, please. Barbara also sent $20. Thank you so much, Barbara. And Lisa sent $5 last night. She sent another great show tonight with attorney Mark Bederow. Thank you so much, Lisa. All right, some good donations tonight. I really appreciate you guys. I want to check the Cash App real quick. Robert sent $19.99 on the Cash App. He says, thank you. Great job. Thank you so much, Robert. Josh J requested $50. He says, I'm a subscriber. Please help. I think the trolls are really actually taking it next level now. I have a lot of trolls. They do this a lot. They request money from me now. That was a good one. They need help. Selma Witt sent $5 yesterday. Thank you so much, Selma Witt. I think I'm done tonight. I want to thank everyone. Young jerks, I really appreciate you guys. I don't know when we'll be back. I'll be covering court tomorrow. We'll see. We'll be watching the fan tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. I want to thank Dave Tree for being a guest earlier tonight. I want to thank Attorney Bederow and Mazda Media and everybody who's been supporting and listening to the show. I think I'm going to play that Tree music one more time if I still have it. I love it. It brings me back in the day. It was enjoyable tonight.